I'm going to let you in on a little secret. I like to eat. Now I know what you're saying. Tinkerer, with that male model's body of yours, surely you must eat like a bird. Well, I'm telling you the truth. I like to eat, and I like to cook as well. And one of the things I like to cook and eat is barbecue. Now, I've got all kinds of barbecue rubs that I've collected that have just been sitting on the big green hutch in the kitchen. Now, I've been thinking lately of building an organizer tray to hold these. I've got some cherry with bark on the edges that's not really much good for anything else, but I think it would make the perfect wood for this tray because it'll give it a lot of character. So, that's our project for today. I'm hungry to get started. Why don't you come along with me and let's do it. I'm starting off this project by sorting through some of my cherry cutoff pieces. Now I have some rough dimensions I want to make this tray, so I've got to find the pieces that will fit together just right and give me just the right look of bark on the edges. Once I've found the pieces, I'm going to run the bottom edge through the joiner to straighten it up. Now taking it over to the table saw, I'm going to rip these pieces to rough width. And then with the miter saw, we're going to start mitering the edges where they come together. I've set up a little stop block with my clamp so that I can make repeated cuts. We lucked out in that this long piece is actually going to give us 3 of our 4 sides, so continuity should be perfect. As we dry fit our first 3 sides, we see that they fit well. But now this 4th side is going to be different because the 2 joints are different heights. So I've marked those heights as measured from the top down on this board, and we're going to cut that line. We'll rough cut it over at the bandsaw, making sure to leave the line. And now we'll sneak up on the line on the joiner. And then it's back over to the miter saw to miter our ends, making sure to utilize our stop block so we get the length right. Now I'm going to cut the rabbet to accept the bottom of the tray. I'm first doing the shoulder cuts, and then I flip it up on edge to do the cheek cut. And this is what we get, a little notch to recess the bottom of the tray. And now for a little assembly. After spreading glue on the miter joints, we're going to pin them together with a brad nail. For the bottom of the tray, we're using a piece of 1/4-inch cherry plywood. No glue for this, just a few brads. Now using this 1/4-inch cove bit, I'm going to make some handles for the sides of the tray. I've got a piece of cherry clamped in the vise, and this piece is going to make both handles, one for each end. I'm just plowing out a finger groove that will be underneath the handle. I've done one pass, and then I lower the bit and do a second pass to make it a little bit deeper. After that's done, I'm ripping it to the final width, and then using the joiner to take off the saw marks. And now at the miter saw, we're cutting each handle to length. Now we're going to put a little radius on each one with our disc sander. And then with a little round over bit, we're going to ease all the edges. Here we see one of the finished handles, complete with the finger pull underneath. Now to attach it to the tray, we're just going to glue it. So I've cut a scrap of wood to act as a spacer block to hold it up a certain distance off the table. And then using my tape measure to make sure it's centered, I'll clamp it and then double check that it's centered. Wipe off any excess glue squeeze out. And then we'll flip it around and do the same thing on the other end. For our finish, we'll use a clear gloss polyurethane from a spray can. We'll gradually build up our layers until we have a nice thick coating. You can see how it really brings out the depth and the beauty of the cherry. I want to add some rubber feet to the bottom of this tray for a couple different reasons. One, it'll make it non-skid and non-marking. Also, if there's any inconsistencies in the bottom of this tray where it would make it sit crooked or rock, these will take care of that because now it's only sitting on 4 points. Screws would go through the bottom of the tray, so I'm just epoxying them on. Well, here's the finished product. It measures 10 inches wide by 14.5 inches long, and it's about 5 inches deep at its deepest. This thing holds a lot of rubs. Currently I have about 9 14-ounce rubs in there, plus several smaller ones, and there's still a little bit room for more. This thing is really beautiful, I think. Cherry is one of my favorite woods, and I love how this live edge looks. I'm going to have to use this again.
Well, I really like how this turned out. You know, this is a functional project, but I think it's a piece of art too. It's going to look really good sitting up on the shelf of the big green hutch holding all my barbecue rubs. I've never worked with live edge before. I know right now live edge is a really popular medium in woodworking, but this is my first time and I couldn't be happier with the results of it. Of course, it was a pretty simple project, but I think it's going to be something I treasure for years to come. I appreciate you coming along on the journey with me. And if you haven't, I'd appreciate you checking out my website, theTennesseeTinkerer.com, and check me out on my next video. I really appreciate it. Until next time, thanks for watching.